Hello everyone and welcome to this new DIY Engineers video. In this video I'm upgrading my small Atomstack X7 Laser Engraver. I'll be expanding its size, adding an enclosure, adding a fan for ventilation inside the enclosure, and then adding a honeycomb laser bit. I'll show the steps that I completed along with some testing so that you can see how it works. So I'll start by expanding my laser engraver. So I bought the expansion kit from Atomstack. Of course I have to disassemble everything, add the new extension beams, if we want to call them that, redo the electrical because we need a longer cable so that it can span all over the length, reset the laser module on the tracks, retighten everything, and do some quick testing to make sure that everything's good. Then I'm going to go ahead and set my honeycomb bed. It has some nice clips to hold your piece. Overall, it looks really good quality, and I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead now and put the honeycomb grid with plate, and we're going to see how that looks. Here's the bottom plate, and it comes with some sort of film that I'm supposed to remove. And then, if that wasn't fun enough, I have the same on the back. Alright, so there it is. It covers the full range, right here. And then on the other side. The front, the back. So now let's go ahead and set up the enclosure. First we have the ducting that is used to help exhaust some of the fumes from engraving and cutting. We have electrical components, we have fan components, and then of course we have the power supply to turn the LEDs on and the fan and the enclosure. So now let's set it up. As you can see, it doesn't take long. You put the first part, which are the walls, and then you put the top over, which you can flip. Everything inside looks enclosed. Here is the ducting and the fan already tight. Now we're going to go ahead and set up the bigger fan that I bought from AC Infinity to get extra ventilation capacity. And it comes with the manuals, documentation, and cables for the controller. So now we need to connect our fan with a small diameter ducting. And so I made this 3D printed part, which will be an intermediate. It will go between the 3 to 6 inch reducer and the outlet duct coming out of the laser cutter's cover. They will both go slightly over this, and the clamps will clamp the reducer and the duct against this and add pressure so that you can join them. I've gone ahead and inserted the part I showed you to the reducer. It was a little bit tight, so I went ahead and entered it through the top and then pushed it so it comes out here. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the ducting. So here it is, and we have the ducting, the reducer, the 3D printed part in the middle helping, and then I'm going to clamp the ducting to the 3D printed part so that we get a nice fit. Alright, so now we got the ducting clamped up to the 3D printed part. We have a 3x6 inch reducer fitted well to that 3D printed part. So all this is good to go. Whenever I start it up, I'll see if there's any sort of leaks going through here. If it is, I might add some tape. So now the next step is to go ahead and clamp the reducer to the fan. And I have here the Infinity clamp that I'll be using for that. So now I went ahead and tightened this clamp on my 6-inch duct coupler. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this other side with the fan and we'll be good to go. So I went ahead now and clamped up here to the fan. So now all that I have left is set up the ducting coming out of the fan, set up the electrical, both the controls, and I have to plug this thing somewhere, right? But we're almost there. Oh, one more thing. You can see, right, I have the ducting coming out of the enclosure, follow along into the fan, and this is the direction of flow, so I want to make sure the outlet is that way. Out of the things that came out with the Infinity fan, I'll start with the controller. Has a connector here that I'm going to need. It's a push button to control it. You can hang it from a wall if you want to. And here we have a UAS to UAS extension, which is basically what we're going to use to connect from the fan to our controller. And here it is, right? You can connect one end to your controller and the other end goes into your fan. The fan has this female connector, and then this is the cable that I just showed you so we can plug them up. So now you have fan cable running through, and here is the controller. All right, so next I just need to connect electrical, connect ducting on the outlet, and we're good to go. And so I'm using this heavy duty ducting 6-inch from the AC Infinity. Seems to be of good quality. It comes with these two clamps to set it to whatever you're attaching it to. And so now I have it connected with the clamp to the hose. And so now to turn it on, I do one tap. That has it running at minimum speed. To increase speed, I keep tapping the button. And it keeps increasing the speed. That's max. If I want to turn it off, I do a hold button. And then if I want to turn it back on to the original setting, I just need to tap it. And that's it. Alright, so here I have this connector switch. This goes to the power supply here that came with the Atomstack Enclosure, and then has a splitter here. One goes to this mini fan that I guess we'll plug, and then the other one goes into the LED lights for the enclosure. So here's the laser inside the enclosure, right? Now once I turn on the fan and the LEDs, you will see how it looks. You can see perfectly inside. And the fan is running over here. So I connected the right USB cable to a laser engraver USB port, and that is connected here to my computer. So now I'll go ahead into Lightburn and change the device settings such that the laser engraver now its nose is the bigger size. Alright, so here I am in Lightburn, and first I'll click here on devices, find my laser. Next, it'll scan. So there, that's my GRBL 410 by 400. We'll have to expand the 400 dimensions, so let's just click Add Device. Let's call this Atomstack X7 850. Next, origin is here. Yep. That's it, you're done. Here's a summary. Okay. Finish. Make default. Okay. So with our laser connected, we go to File, Edit, Machine Settings, and scroll down under Output Setup. You have to find this one, Y Max Travel. So this one used to be 400, and we're going to expand to 850. That's in millimeters. After that, we click Right. It says Controller Settings written successfully. Click OK. So I went ahead and placed the laser module all the way to the end, and in the past, before changing the settings, if you asked it to go back to home, it would have told you, it would have given you an error because it simply would have started running from the end all the way to home, and after traveling more than the default or the original length, it would have errored out thinking that it should already gotten home because it didn't used to be as big. Now that we changed the setting, if I click the home button, it's gonna make it all the way home. So let's try that. So there it is. For a simple test, I'll go ahead and set here small piece of scrap that I have. Go ahead and put some of this tags. So then I'll take this 2mm thick piece to set the proper distance between my sample and the laser. First, I'll loosen this, let it drop. Once it's in contact, I can retighten. And it's set. So right now I'm in Lightburn. I have made sure on my settings here, device settings, that the width and height of the machine and origin are the correct one. And so now I'm ready to go, and the first thing that I'm going to do is go to File, Import, to get the image I want to import. Put it here. Now if I zoom in, you will see that the width of this box and height are pretty much the diameter. I want to make that 75 millimeters. It's just what I wanted to do. Okay. And next, I'm going to add a circle. So now we'll right click, adjust image. We'll make sure our image mode is in Jarvis. I get the best results with Jarvis. We'll change the contrast to -9, or that's what I'm going to do for this image. Brightness, I'm going to put it -21. Gamma, I'm going to do 0.725. We're going to increase the radius to 24. And let's bulk up on the enhancement. So this is basically gonna allow some of these features on my logo to pop out a little bit more once we get it completed in the wood. So that was my goal. So let's click OK. And so now we'll proceed and add the circle. So we go over here, click the circle, make the circle 75, 75. Okay, let's remove this lock. Sorry. Alright, there it is. So if I click the image and then click the circle, select both, and then click this to align both vertical and horizontal centers, it'll center your circle in the image. So what's next? Alright, so now I have to click here to make sure I can see my cut layers, and I need to adjust the parameters for when I do the perimeter cut around the circle and when I engrave. Before we do that, I'm gonna open up the guide for the guide from the laser I'm using. So before I edit any of this, I would like to open the parameters table from my Atomstack X7 Laser Engraver. So this is the table, and you can see they have engraving parameters. Here's basswood, that's the material I'm going to use. They show the power percentage, the image mode Jarvis, that's what I mentioned earlier, and the speed in millimeters per minute. Now I just said speed, I made sure to call it out as millimeters per minute to avoid. So here's the parameters table. You can see it provides the image mode Jarvis, that's what we talked about, recommends 1 pass, max powers 60%, and it says speed 3000. Now that's in millimeters per minute. If you go ahead and divide that by 60, you get 50 millimeters per second. So I'll go ahead and here on my image we'll say 50 millimeters per second, 80%. Number of passes 1. And then if I click on the line, let's check out what the PDF recommends for that. I have to scroll down to the cut parameters. It says basswood 3 millimeters, that's the thickness I'm working with. It says 150. 150 divided by 60 is 2.5. So we'll go with 2.5 and we'll have the 80, again, 1 pass. Okay. Before we do the preview, let's actually put the image first, since I would rather engrave than cut. Now with that, we can click on the preview. This is 40x. Supposedly this is what it'll look like. This is not exactly super accurate, but you can see it'll take 17 minutes. So let's click play. As you can see, it's engraving first. And this is showing all the movements it plans on doing once we get to the engraver. And then we'll do our cut. And then we're done. And so all you have left is you gotta go to File. You can save your project if you want, but then the important thing is save as G-code. And obviously make sure to follow all operating and safety instructions from your laser engraver, including the use of safety glasses, etc. So I went ahead and mid-print decided to unplug the mini fan that comes with the enclosure, which is super loud, and I'm letting the big fan do all the work, and I mean it's more than enough, less noise, and it still gets it done. So now, as this is almost done, I realized I did not turn on the air assist, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on now. Looks like we're almost done engraving. We're starting to cut now. Let's get out this piece. Nice, I didn't even have to push it. That was a nice cut. You can see the finish, it's really good. If I wanted to tweak some of the, the end result, I could play a little bit with the power during engraving, or even some of the parameters that we looked at on the image. And so now we'll go ahead and cut a much bigger piece. I'll be using this for a future project. Alright, so here's the piece after cutting. Looks like this needed a little bit more power. I'm sure it'll snap off easily with some push, but these were good. This one needs a little bit convincing as well. There you go. And so after pushing it, the piece came out just fine. You can see the front looks perfect. If I turn it around, you can see there was some peeling. To me, it's not a big deal because that won't be showing. This will be the front. The right answer would have been just to cut with a little bit more power or slower speed. This is my scrap. You can see the one part that I had to tore out a little bit, but nothing can be solved with just a little bit more power. If you would like to learn more about this project, make sure to click the link video. To learn about all the components I use for this upgrade, see the links in the description. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.